Hey guys, and in this video we will get with you to all the comments of the second part, so second half of the comments, and yeah, so basically my plan is just to show you everything what I have in this doc, like the comments which I use constantly on my projects, on my project work. So let's start. Here we will start actually with one thing that I forgot to show in the previous video. It's the push. So if you remember, if you watched the video, we have created a scratch work there. We have created the one test field called test field, okay, on account, and we retrieved it with the pull comment. And now where is pull, there is push. So why do we need the push one? So normally you have not empty metadata, so not empty this force up folder, you have some stuff in here. And for all the new scratch orgs that you create, you should also bring your customizations. So it's something outside of the scratch org script file, which defines the features and settings that you have, but that's just pushing, like, deployment of your actual customizations. And this can be done by this command. So let me run it. I have created a new org. It's empty one. Yeah, so, and this test field was created on SF2. Oops. Okay, that's didn't get copied. So, and now we will try to push this new field and profile. Don't know if it's gonna work properly, but we will try to push it to our new org that I created before. So, okay, nice, that was quick and everything's successful. So that's where you need the push, and that's how it works. If it fails, like any deployment, it will fail at some point of time, yeah. You will get here the list of the errors, and additionally you can check the push results when you are opening just your org. It's the way that I prefer most, because yeah, it's the same deployment status as everywhere, as for the change sets, as for package deployment. You can always go here to setup and to deployment. Okay, I have again the scratch work in German. Sorry for that. I really need to change this stuff. And now let's get back to setup, and I will be able to find deployment status now, and here it is. And yeah, we can see that it was basically the same deployment. So the first deployment status is actually the scratch work creation, and the next one will be our 3 components, so successful right now, but if there will be errors, they will be displayed here as well. And okay, now let's go through all other comments. We have discussed with you the logging in. Then additional, there is another version of this comment when you need to log in, not to live environment, not to Salesforce.com, but instead to test environment. So by default, the path would be here opened Salesforce.com. So if we try to do so, let me show you again. So this Salesforce.com, this is the path URL that is relevant for the live environments, for productions, or like in my situation, it is this org that I created with Trailhead, but it's also kind of considered to be live. Yeah, and on the projects, we always also have some static orgs, sandboxes, and that's where we should specify the path to log in to testsalesforce.com. So like like this. And in this, okay, I need to stop the previous job, and now I can enter the new one. And yeah, here you can see that testsalesforce.com is opened, and here you will enter the credentials from your Salesforce sandbox, and you will log in successfully then. Okay, I will not continue with that because I don't have any sandbox. And okay, what's next? Then here we have just this creation of the scratch org, which I've described already before. Then yeah, this comment that is showing the list of connected orgs, super useful. then yeah, we can, I have normally here just saved lines with some already namespaced, so you can open any environment that you want. Yeah, then the push and the pull, which we've discussed. Then, okay, here we have some really good comments, which I'm constantly using, but it's more yeah, a little bit more advanced deployment process. So what is it? Its ability not to rely on push and pull, like which would return you the changes that are also were like differences, yeah. But instead you can do the retrieve of some concrete stuff, and yeah, or deploy some concrete concrete stuff. So here I have various options here. There is this parameter -m, which stands for metadata, and you can describe all the stuff, how yeah, what you need to retrieve, or later what you need to deploy. The rules for this describing are the ones that is provided in package XML. So package XML is some file that was that is related more to the previous version of working with Salesforce, so not SFDX, I would say. It was there before. So when we are doing the package deployments, for example, or change sets deployment, inside it creates the package XML. And I can yeah, show you. So we have some comments in here to convert our force up format of files, so which means SFDX format of the files, file metadata. We can convert it to source file format. Yeah, so here I've created, I've converted it to the folder which I'm naming constantly just source to deployment, but it can be any name. Yeah, and here would be the folder provided, which you can use for the deployment. And yeah, you will find here the layout, the object, and the profile. This is something what I have, but yeah, you will find your own stuff in here. And also you can check the XML file, and here would be these rules, this list of everything what you have. And now if I want, for example, let's imagine, okay, I will save this stuff, but I will go to Force app, and I will just delete this objects folder at all. Like, let's imagine I don't have it, to imitate a little bit like retrieving something yeah, not pulled from your org or from sandbox. Yeah, so how would I write this retrieve command? I will write custom field comma and the name of the field. What is important with the as object name, so if it's custom one, it would look like this. So account custom _ c, yeah, and the API name of the field, and so on. And everything via comma, you can add space between, so between the stuff, but here must be no spacing. And yeah, layout would be the same. Yeah, like that. And additional, let us retrieve like not one profile which I had in here, but all profiles. That means that I'm just specifying here the metadata name, but I'm not providing the concrete listing. And by the way, if you need several fields, this would, yeah, you will need to list them like this and so on. So let me use this command version, and then I can clean up fully. Okay, no, I will not clean up, but just let me copy this, and we'll retrieve this from SF2 org, Scratch org, where it was created. Okay, and let's see. Okay, that's some interesting question which I'm facing currently, and which is related only to my local machine. Yeah, okay, I was struggling with it the whole morning. But okay, then looks like I cannot show this comment right now, but all right. Okay, we can do a workaround, which is only for me. So if you have no spaces in your path, which means like one component or so, or even can we do it? Okay, let me try doing this. If I remove these spaces, probably it will be fine. Like that. Okay, that's fine. But yeah, you can use quotes as well, so it should work normally. It always work everywhere except my computer right now. So okay, now it prepares the retrieve, and it has retrieved everything. Okay, but it says that test field cannot be found. Okay, probably I have. Did I mix up the org? Okay, well, probably, but it doesn't matter really. Anyway, the idea is that you can specify some concrete metadata that you want to work with, and you can retrieve it. If you will see, so here we wrote like profile, yeah, which means retrieving of all profiles existing, and it has retrieved literally everything what it had. Yeah. So that's these comments. What is really cool about this? That some stuff on your Scratch org, some stuff just can't be retrieved, like settings. And this is something what you also can retrieve additionally. So for example, okay, let me clean up that. I will remove the files. So I will remove these ones. So if we can retrieve settings, I will show you. This is super useful. Or I don't really remember if we need to provide some concrete settings name. But okay, there are situations when you need to really deploy some settings. Oh, that's nice. You can see how many there are. And we can check the content of anything, so this would be something like that. You should be careful with that because it might break your deployment, but as well as might not. So it's useful thing, and sometimes it must be added to repository and deployed like that if it's possible. So here you would find the account settings, the case settings, different stuff like email to case, web to case, company settings, currency settings like multi-currency enabled or not, and so on. Name settings might be really commonly used because the setting to enable middle name and enable name suffix. So this kind of stuff, and that's something what if you configure manually, it will not fetch with the pull command. Okay, but let us move further. So convert comment, I have shown it already to you. On this example, I have converted the whole source, but there can be as well the situation when you convert in the concrete list. So yeah, just same as here, you will paste it in there. I will not demonstrate it again. And then, why we are doing this? Because we can deploy this source. Okay, no, apparently I should do this again, or not. Okay, I'm not having really good examples right now, but what I can say in each next video, when I will describe some concrete topic with some concrete metadata, I have planned that at the end of each video I will also retrieve this stuff and commit to repository and also deploy to the next environment. So that's where you might check this ending of the videos and check these deployment things. But also normally then we're using this command. So how does it work? It's same deployment as it would be with the change sets or packages. So you have some folder in an old way. Yeah, so the one that I have shown here, but I have removed everything. Okay, that's not nice. But okay, let us convert it again, and anyway, it will be just the source full of settings, but whatever. Yeah, here we'll find, yeah, true, various metadata, and what is important, it's like in the old format of metadata. It has the package XML, and later you can continue and deploy this with SFDX force mdapi deploy to some next environment if you need. So this folder, wait in 10 minutes. It's the same as before in regards to installation package, so you must provide here some number of minutes, otherwise it will just drop kind of immediately. And then you can additionally specify some level of the tests running. So for production, for example, it will be default like run local tests. You can set the same level for your static works or scratch works, and additionally you can set run specified test, like some concrete one test or so. If needed many, then you are writing them via comma, yeah, like that. And you can see also here the parameter check only somewhere. This is needed for doing only validation, not the deployment. So yeah, many variations of this comment, and I'm using them constantly on the projects when I need, I don't know, I have some metadata which I don't know if it's gonna work for sure, or if it's gonna break something, and then I'm really just quickly, in the most optimal way, using these comments to try it out before the whole committing of the stuff and running the automatic CI jobs. So this is something what is like really advanced skills, and to do everything in an optimal way, yeah. Not to spending half of a day for just fixing deployment, but instead see all the issues right now and see what you should change or something like that. And then additional to that comment, so it's like a more improved one, just like doing the same as these two, but without preparing extra package. So you can just use this one as well instead of that one. You can see the difference in here is the mdapi. It's the old format of the files, or source format, like it is now with the SFDX. And you can run this SFDX for source deploy. Again, you are writing down what metadata it would be, to which org, how much to wait, and the same parameters as were there. So check only, or -L is level for the tests, like run local tests or run all tests or run specified tests. Yeah, and again, so if you will use this one, it's always tricky for people first to understand how do I write the correct API names from here. Yeah, so one suggestion to you, you can always convert your source to deploy and read this package XML. This will be source of truth. Yeah, it will be always working name of the metadata and name of your metadata files. Or additionally, I can give you this article, which I was given it already in some different video, but I'm still loving it. So here you will find just really big package XML with plenty of API names for everything. So for example, the most commonly confused, so LVC, you won't find it here. You will find something like bundle. Yeah, our definition bundle. Yeah, so that might be the difference, and you can check either here or on your own package XML. So, okay, and then let's get back to here. And we're done with the deployment topic. It's super advanced. Try it out. Go ahead and really try everything out. And let's have a look at some other just tiny useful comments. So we can display the API limits for some org. It might be useful, when when, for example, you need quickly to tell the client how many, I don't know, daily emails were sent, or yeah, so there would be like 15 left from 15 or so. Okay, yeah, I have really small limits in here because it's my trailhead org, but anyway, so you can quickly check here. Active scratch works, daily scratch works, I don't know, some bulk, number of bulk jobs, and so on. Mass email, yeah. So that's what I was mentioning right now. And yeah, so checking the limits. Before SFDX, I was doing it with going to Workbench and then writing there this URL request directly in the Workbench, so a little bit longer. Then this one is good, but I have another version of it. So force package installed list. That's something what I guess I was showing already, yeah, in the previous video, but still, so you can run this command for any org, for your production or your sandbox, yeah, and you will see all the packages installed with the IDs. This is like this public ID, which is used on AppExchange, then some package ID, API ID, and then the package version ID, the one that is relevant for you for installation this package to some other orgs. So this is the ID that we use. And yeah, you can find here also the name, the namespace, the version name, and yeah, this version name. So yeah, then the installment package, it's clear. Then okay, now if we get back, and I will show you another comment. So we can set some alias after we've created the org. So for example, I have here 2 orgs that I created before without any aliases, and for example, I want to fix this. Yes, so the org is fine, but I just forgot to set this parameter. Then I can do this like that. So yeah, and now if I run again, you will see that this org got an alias, a shorter one. Yeah, we can change the default username set. So right now it is SF3, which is the newest created, which was set because here we are providing -s parameter, so I'm normally using it. But if you don't want to set every new org as default one, you can just control it with this command. So SFDX force config set default username, and for example again SF1. And if we run the comment above the list, then you see now the username has changed its place to SF1. And the same would be with the default DevHub username. Yeah, so something what we did in the beginning in the previous video. Default hub username is set like per location. So normally, well, right now here I have just one repository. It's Salesforce with Polina, but normally I have here on my work have several folders like client 1, client 2, client 3, yeah, and then for each this folder within this folder, this dev hub will be different. It will allow you not to create occasionally scratch work for one client from another client's production, yeah, so no, this kind of stuff. So yeah, this is comment this force config set default dev hub username. And what else? Okay, that's a truly nice one. Okay, but I probably should show it on Scratch org. So we have this extra comment to display some details about your org. Details like sensitive details, like for example this one, but good that it's from my Scratch org. I mean, normally would not share from the original org, but there would be access token, there would be some details, and what is the most important, why I'm adding this minus verbose parameter. I don't really know what it means. I mean, this word, what it means, but it adds extra parameter SFDX auth URL here. So this is the yeah, the one that is relevant. And what it is, it's something what is used when you are configuring continuous integration from another application. Like for example, on my projects, I'm configuring. We're using this Circle CI app. And there you need also to enter like environment variables with the authorization to your orgs for constant deployment. Yeah, nobody wants to regenerate some active token like every hour or so. Yeah, and that's where you need this link. And you are copying it. You see that here would be some encrypted key hidden. And this is something what authorizes you constantly to your org. Quite a useful one. And yeah, so that's something what I'm using as well. Then also you can use SFDX force user password generate. You can run this one. It won't hurt my environment in here. So for example, for my user with this username, there is generated the password. This one, yeah. This might be, this is always useful when you need to share your Scratcher credentials with teammate, because normally you don't have any password from the Scratch org, because it's just created from console, and console contains your authorization, and yeah, you can of course go to the org and generate yourself a password, but comment is always quicker, yeah, and you just run it, and you have the password, and you are copying it and just passing directly to your teammate, and he or she can continue your work or something if needed. These are of course exceptional situations. Okay, then the next, this one, okay, yeah, let's go one by another. So we can delete the Scratch orgs. Not the static orgs, but the Scratch orgs. As I said before, so the Scratch orgs, they live like 30 days maximum. So by default, it would be 7 days. And when you are done, and you have here really plenty of the orgs already active, and you want just to clean up a little bit, you might want to delete something. So for this, you should use this command SFDX force org delete -u. And paste there either alias or username. I will delete this first one. So enter this. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. And successfully marked Scratch org for deletion. And now it doesn't really escape this command. So here is again where you are using Control-C to terminate the job. So it's fine because it already did everything. And another situation from the sandboxes, you will of course not delete your sandbox because it's already maintained by the production environment. Yeah, it's not something for deletion, but instead you might want to log out. And we can do it as well. I guess it will be successful with some work. So let's try to log out from SF2. Okay, yes, I know. Yeah, okay, it logged out. Yeah, I don't know really why it every time writes me here terminate batch job, because on my work computer it doesn't write me this sentence every time. Again, everything can be different on our local machines, because here I really screwed up some installations of this CI tool, of this CLI tools, I guess. Because so normally this is not happening. You just you just enter Control-C and it goes directly to the new command. So it is how it should work. Okay, then what else I have here? Okay, some very specific comment, but let us have it. Okay, the last one and then the bonus. Yeah. This comment is for working with communities. Now, as Salesforce has introduced the experience cloud, which is community in the old, it was called community in before, but now it's experience bundles, and they are super useful. They are deployable fully, which is really the happiest moment of the projects, because before it wasn't deployable much. And the thing is that when you're working with the communities on the project, you also should consider, okay, how you will deliver it to your Scratch orgs and potentially publish them, because communities need to be published. And that's where this command can be used. So force community publish and its name. Yeah, so not used constantly, but just the last comment from my list. And then then, as I said, the bonus one would be some cool work with the repository. So, for example, when you are committing the stuff, commit. Okay, all settings. Me edit. So, for example, whatever it is, I just want to commit some stuff. Let me do it in here, and then I will go here and write git push, and I'm committing this to repository. Let me update it, and you will see now, all settings added. This is my commit. And now I understood that, okay, I didn't want this to happen. I want to undo this. And that's where I'm running git reset hard hat and git push -f. You really should understand that now I'm giving really like a weapon to your hands, because it's powerful. Powerful command. Don't screw up. Be careful with that. Have your version in here, local version, always updated, which can be done by git pull. But now I've run this. I know how to manage this command, and I've run this, and I have really undone my commit. On my project. So when I'm screwing up a little bit the repository, I don't like ugly repository. So it should be really nice and smooth, because a lot of people are working here, and that's where I might sometime repeat several times this comment. So like each comment gives you -1 commit, and then you are pushing it with force, and then you have clean repository. So this is my bonus to you. I don't know if you knew this or not, but I'm using this from time to time. But I guess in regards to the SFDX comments, that's probably it. But additionally, so you can always find the documentation in about this force. So, for example, here you can go through all this. I mean, there are a lot of comments, but these are the ones that I use constantly on my projects. You can go through these several bunches of articles and read all the comments, just a little bit what they do, just to know a little bit the capabilities. If you find something super interesting, don't hesitate to share it with all of us. Just write in comments, and I mean, I'm also always curious for what can be there, because I'm not monitoring them constantly or something, and there might be something else you don't know still. Okay, this was the final version of the comments that I'm using, and I hope you enjoyed. I will share this file. I guess I will commit this to the repository as well, so you can just copy and have this example as well. So good luck with learning Salesforce and SFDX. See you in the next video. Bye!